Hello everyone and welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're doing good and well. So for this Saturday's premiere, I'm going to be counting down my top 10 horror films of 2022. I thought 2022 was a strong year for horror. I thought you had a great range of films. You had some really good directorial debuts. You had some good reboots of old horror franchises. You had some good new takes on the horror genre as a whole as well. So it was just a great range of films from which to choose, really, which is what made this list difficult to construct, because I thought there were a good few films that I could have as my number one in this particular year. So also, I'm going to be doing these top 10 horror film countdown lists now going forwards, and obviously next up will be 2021, then 2020, then 2019, and so on and so forth. So you can expect future videos of this kind in the near future. But obviously for now, for today, I am tackling the year of 2022 and my top 10 horror films from that year. So coming in at number 10 is a Finnish horror film called Hatching. This is a body horror film with a creature feature aspect to it as well. I think this is a fascinating horror film that is worth watching at least the once. I love how the film develops the creature in particular, and also how it's acting on the little girl's, the sort of main character of this film called Tina, how it's acting on her and around her. It's really interesting to watch unfold. And the film also centres in or focuses in on Tina's relationship with her mum as well, and how aspects of that relationship, I think, are somewhat projected onto the creature as well. So it's a really fascinating little film, this one. I highly recommend watching this, as I say, at least the once. That's my number 10, Hatching, directed by Hannah Bergholm. Coming in at number 9 is a comedy horror film called Deadstream, which was like a spin on the found footage horror film, really, but with comical and modern aspects to it, because you have this guy that's trying to win back his social media followers, and to do that he decides to film a live stream in a haunted house. And hilarity ensues, really, with the different scenes in this film, the way he interacts with his environment in the haunted house, and also with his followers and with characters that are introduced in this film as well, I think. And the scene I particularly love is the potato gun scene, which I think is absolutely hysterical, and for me, the standout scene in the whole film. But I would say this film is, again, worth a watch at least once. If you're looking for something light-hearted and entertaining too, then Deadstream is just about perfect for that. That's my number 9, Deadstream. Coming in at number 8 is a popular horror film from that particular year. This was the directorial debut of Zach Cregger. This is Barbarian. Now, it might be surprising I've not put this film a lot higher up in my list. I mean, number 8 to me is still pretty high, but yeah, it's not in the top 5, or it's not number 1. I'm sure many people would actually have this as their number 1 horror film of 2022. For me, though, I don't necessarily see a lot of rewatch value in this film, but I do think it's a really clever film. I love the way that the film has this intersection later on, so you kind of have a first part of the film following one particular character, and then you have another part of the film following another character, and I like the way those different threads of the film come together towards the film's closure. And that's, for me, one of the big strengths of this film, is the way it's structured is just a bit, I thought was kind of a little bit unique, or it felt authentic. And I love the way that the film also, gradually uncovers its dark secrets, or the dark secrets of the basement dwellers, if you like, if I'm calling that. And I thought that was also really, really good. So yeah, that's my number 8, Barbarian. Coming in at number 7 is the first in Ti West's X trilogy, X. And I thought this was another great film that, again, might be a bit surprising that it's not made my top 5. But, again, I thought this was a great film. I think what Ti West does really well in his horror films is his use, the way he does suspense. He knows how to work suspense and tension into his films incredibly well. Of course, he's helped by a great cast in this film, including Mia Goth and Jenna Ortega. And, Mia Goth, as I've said in the past, I always love her performances in horror films in particular. I know there's been this legal case going on in the background at the moment, and I don't know what's happening with that, but we shall see what happens as that unfolds, I guess. But yeah, I think that this film was a really strong first film in this trilogy. But there is, one I like slightly more, and I've given the game away, but that you may be hearing about very shortly. But yeah, X is a great film from 2022. Coming up next, at number 6, is a film directed by Christian Tafdrup. This is a Danish horror film called Speak No Evil. And this is a very disturbing film. I would say this is not for the light-hearted. So what is Speak No Evil about? You've got here this Danish couple that meet another couple, a Dutch couple, and it's the Dutch couple that have these dark traits. But what happens in this film is you don't kind of, their red flags are slowly revealed. But what's interesting is how the Danish couple don't really react enough, or you don't think that they do enough to sort of act on the red flags necessarily. You feel like, do something, get away from this couple. There's obviously red flags coming out here. You should be nowhere near this. And that feeling sort of grows and grows as the film goes on, like, get away from these people. They are absolutely, not people you want to be near. But you have some sympathy, I think, at times, because they have a little boy, and the way they're treating him is, it becomes more and more apparent that's awful, that it's absolutely awful. So, as I say, not a film for the faint-hearted, and I think the film has a certain amount of impact. And the reason why this film is quite high on my list is that it is the impact of this film that is what makes it what it is for me. And not a film I'm going to, rush to rewatch anytime soon. But it's because of the way this film, just had that impact on me. And I just was so shocking that I thought, I think this is going to be high up in my end of year list for 2022. That's Speak No Evil. Coming in at number 5, we have got Hellraiser 2022, the reboot of the well-worn horror franchise with all those not so good sequels, shall we say. But this is a really good reboot, actually. I was really impressed, particularly with the effects, with the reimaginings of the Cenobites, which I thought were just fantastic. Great action sequences in this film. I also thought you had, good characters like Riley, but I thought some of the character work could have maybe been a little bit better fleshed out, no pun intended, with Hellraiser, using the word flesh is kind of appropriate. But yeah, just on the whole, a really, really good entry in this franchise, a good reboot. And I particularly like the last scene, I think it is, in this film, where that guy is transforming, or he's kind of, there's that like torture sequence going on, and it's just like, it's just quite something to see. But yeah, the film as a whole is a really, really good one. And I highly recommend, if you're Hellraiser fans and you haven't seen Hellraiser 2022, then you go check this one out. So that's my number 5, Hellraiser. Coming in at number 4 is a film which I really sang praise about. I was riding on the hype of this movie. I'll admit, maybe I got even a little bit carried away with how much I enjoyed this one. This is Terrifier 2, the second film, directed by Damien Leone, from 2022, of course. And this is a great slasher movie, I think, with lots and lots of gore. I mean, excessive amounts of gore. So for some people, this will be too much. It's really gory, a bit like the first film. It's very extreme, so it won't be for everybody. But what this film does better than the first one, and the reason I love it, is I think it has better depth with its characters. Its characters are better carved out. And I think Lauren Rivera in particular is absolutely brilliant as Sienna in this movie. I think her portrayal of Sienna is just spot on. She has this amazing outfit, and she looks absolutely amazing in that outfit. And as this kind of Valkyrie, sort of image that carries with it. And I just think that, there's good... David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown is just phenomenal. And this is the thing with these Terrifier films for me, is he is what really makes... I've realised it's watching him, his little movements, his mischievous ways, and the way he slowly torments and tortures his victims as well is the thing that brings you in, because David Howard Thornton, as the sort of silent artist that he is really interesting just to watch. And every second of the way, or every second that you're watching Art the Clown, you don't quite know exactly what he's going to do next, but you know it's going to be bad. And it's because of that, I think, that you just want to keep watching with the Terrifier movies. And obviously Terrifier 3 due out later this year, so Terrifier 2 is my number 4 in my top 10 countdown of 2022. Coming in next at number 3, we've got a film which I have recently been talking about in one of my first watch tier lists. This is Watcher. This is starring Maika Monroe, and I think it's a really great suspenseful kind of gaslighting thriller with this weird stalker in it. And Maika Monroe's character is trying to highlight her concerns about the stalker. She's afraid of the stalker. She's highlighting the fact she feels vulnerable, and people around her are not really acting on anything. They're ignoring her for the most part and not doing anything about the fact that she is very worried and concerned about this person, this guy that seems to be looking at her from across this apartment block from where she lives. And, you know, it's clever the way the film develops its atmosphere. For me, it's quite an atmospheric film. It's very creepy. It's slow, but it's a slow burn in the best way possible. And I think it's a really, really top film from that year. Maybe a little bit underrated, because I don't think I've heard or have heard too many people talking about Watcher from 2022. And, you know, Maika Monroe, I think everything I see her in, I think she's a very, very good performer. And I loved her in It Follows, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing also what else she does in the future. Hopefully they follow, due out soon as well. So that's my number 3. That is Watcher. Coming in next at number 2, another franchise reboot called Prey. This was an addition to the Predator films, and an absolutely terrific one at that, because I love the way this film brings in more elements of the natural world and makes the predator interact with those elements more, which we haven't really seen, because as a predator with prey, so to speak, it's great to see those elements brought to the forefront of the Predator franchise a bit more, and have more of the natural world being the focus. I also really like the performance of Amber Midthunder, who I thought did really well and consistently did well throughout the film as the main character, the lead in the movie. And yeah, some great scenes, some really good action sequences, which you want in a Predator movie. You want great action sequences, but I think the film does better at bringing back elements of the suspense from some of the earlier films in the franchise, and yeah, does so with great conviction. Loved Prey, the prequel in the Predator franchise from 2022. That's my number 2. Now we move on to my number 1, which is the second film in the Ti West X trilogy. You could probably see this coming. Perhaps this is Pearl, starring Mia Goth. And I thought Pearl was absolutely fantastic. I think it's got great suspense, great tension. Again, something Ti West does very well. But I think the characters in this film are really strong, and the relationship developments is something for me that really made this film, for me, stronger than X. And I also love the kills, being someone that likes... Also, that sounds really sadistic, but in horror movies, you always like to see good kills. And I think you get, you know, there aren't too many of them, but you get some really good kills in Pearl as well. And yeah, it's the combination of the direction, the story, the performances, the slow burn, the kills, everything that makes Pearl my number 1 horror film of 2022. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Don't forget to drop a like and a sub if you're new to the channel. You want to see more lists like this going forwards for horror. Obviously, this film is quite focused on music as well. I've got album reviews coming up and album lists too, as we count down other top 10 album lists by each year too. So until next time, guys, until the next video, from me, it's bye for now.